How's it going, vaqueros, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something that has gone under the radar that I discovered not too long ago, and I was pretty surprised to find out that the Expedite 12 with Dragon's Breath specifically seems to have gotten a pretty massive buff to its damage up close. So today's video is going to be focused on the Expedite, as OP calls it, and it's going to be showing you guys the new best loadout, in my opinion, to use for this shotgun. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and stick around, and of course I'll have timestamps below in the description if you want to jump to a certain spot. So let's just go ahead and get started. So the Expedite, as you know, is sort of this awkward shotgun where it's not really spammable and it's not super hard hitting, but it has this amazing 3-shot potential that's just out of this world. It's so good, but it's, again, awkward and kind of hard to manage, and it's very inconsistent when it comes to that 3-shot, especially when people are jumping around like, I don't know, sweats always do. So it's kind of awkward. I don't really always recommend it, and it's not going to be viable in a lot of people's hands because it just doesn't shoot fast enough for how much damage it does. Well, Dragon's Breath, as of Season 4 Reloaded, turns that on its head because now the Expedite 12 does about as much damage up close and personal as a heavy-hitting pump action does. That's right, from about 0 to 2.8 meters, your gun, your Expedite 12, will now deal as much damage as a pump action, so we're talking about 200 to 210 points of damage, which is kind of absurd, and it's kind of varying. It's not always 200, sometimes it's 210, sometimes it's 220. I don't know why Dragon's Breath is like that, but just know you're dealing about as much damage as a pump action. That is a massive, massive buff to this gun that used to deal about, what, like 130 with Dragon's Breath before? It was a 3-shot. Well, now it's a 2-shot, and with that, it's effectively cut the time to kill for this gun up close in half, because now your 2-shot time to kill is sitting at around 400 milliseconds flat, and that's if you use the Expedite L-Bolt, which is to get a better fire rate, which I always recommend on this shotgun. That is faster than the KV Broadside and faster than the MX Guardian, and it's only slower than the Lockwood 300, but this gun is a little bit more versatile than that one. So this 400 millisecond time to kill up close, it's gonna tear some people apart. It's actually kind of absurd how good this thing is now. As long as you're in that really close range, you can actually spam it and get away with it and get people downed very, very quick. This is an awesome, awesome buff to see, and I'm super happy about it. Now, past that 2.8 meter range to about that 5.1 meter range, it deals about 146 to 166 points of damage. It seems like I was only getting a 2-shot kill. If I was hitting like chest level or kind of head around that area, if you're hitting a little bit higher torso, you're probably going to get a 2-shot kill. Sometimes if you hit stomach, it's just 146, and that's obviously not enough to kill in 2 shots, but as long as you aim decently well, you're going to get that chest damage, so it works out pretty well. So you're basically getting an effective 2-shot range of about that 5-meter mark, which is pretty damn good for, again, how fast this thing shoots now for how much damage it does, because before didn't deal that much damage and shot kind of fast. Now it shoots kind of fast but does pump action levels of damage, so that is pretty awesome, and I gotta say I'm in love. The only downside is after that range, that 5-meter mark, it seems like it's generally going to take about 4 shots to kill pretty consistently, so that's kind of bad. You really don't want to get caught with this thing at ranges, and I'm okay with that. As long as this hits hard up close, I'm pretty happy about it. Now, the annoying thing about the Expedite 2 is that it doesn't really have many barrel attachments that really help with range. You can tune the barrel, but I just don't really recommend it because most of the barrels are kind of just meh, or they'll lower your ammo count to like 5, or they'll really weigh you down. I would say just rock with a muzzle, and that's another thing, is if you have a barrel, it usually blocks the muzzle attachment. So for me, I was usually just running the Bryson choke and the point G3P laser to kind of get that tighter hip spread, because I was kind of spamming this up close and aiming down sights at later distances. But really, you could also use something like the SA MX50. That's kind of up to you. I would say you can swap that out with the Bryson choke if you want a little bit more range. It's about 14% more range, so it is nice, but I just prefer being a little bit faster when it comes to aim down sights and having a more consistent pellet spread. Now, when it comes to the loadout, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and let me show you guys my new tool that I've been using, and this is from the Warzone loadout community. I will leave a link to this site below in the description. It is an amazing tool, especially for creators, but it's a great way to see people's builds. There's a ton of very popular streamers and Warzone players. They have builds on there you can go and check out. It's got the tunings. You can make your own loadouts on it. This is an amazing tool for anybody who plays Warzone and takes it somewhat seriously. So if you're interested, I will leave a link to the site down below, and I highly, highly encourage you guys to go check it out. But this is the loadout for the Expedite 12. I call it the underdog because this thing, no one really knows about it yet, and it is pretty damn devastating. Of course, you can't tune the L-bolt or the resonance stock collapse, but the other tunings, they are up there on the screen. So I hope you guys enjoy this loadout. Make sure to try it out and let me know what you think. As for my thoughts on this buff, this is such a good change, and I am so happy to see it, because when the Expedite first got buffed, it was still kind of wonky, and Dragon's Breath was still kind of a 3-shot and just kind of pointless to have in pretty much every way. Now there's definitely a good incentive to use this thing, and I gotta say, this is probably, in my opinion, the new best way to run the Expedite, because up close and personal as it should, it's dealing exactly what it needs to, and it does so much damage for how fast it shoots. This is an absolute monster of a shotgun now. Yes, it's maybe not as good as some of the Brysons because they have more range, but this thing, do not sleep on it. It's very, very fun, and it's very, very strong now. And I feel like a dev over at Raven Software is kind of keeping tabs on my videos, because this is like exactly what I wanted from the gun, and it's just nice to see that they're actually listening and kind of paying attention to a more niche audience and a more niche weapon class that not a lot of people really care for or even like, because they tend to get a lot of hate. So shout out to the devs at Raven. That is really cool to see, and that's really appreciated. Now I want to know down below, what are all of your thoughts on this update? Are you guys happy with this buff? Are you happy that the Expedite 12 with Dragon's Breath finally got some much needed love? Do you think that it's basically done, that the Expedite 12 doesn't need any more buffs? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.
Ultra be advised, be enhanced operators in the area. Engage with caution.